Fellow nerds, it is time. We are talking Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And we are going to be talking about spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers, go out and watch it. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Come back, you can watch this on replay. But if you haven't seen it, don't care, stay on. If you have seen it, please join in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it Thursday night. If you haven't seen our spoiler-free review, please check it out on YouTube. Let me drop that link right there.
Excellent.
The gentleman. Did you guys see what it made? We're already getting off topic. I should probably. They were saying it should, like the estimates, you know how they always do the box office estimates. They were like, oh, it's going to make like 70, 80 million. It made 120 million domestically.
Wow.
It blew away all the projections. I don't think so. I think some of the Frozens and maybe a few of the others, may have done it, but it blew away all the estimates. And a lot of people are saying it was word of mouth. Everyone was like, go see it. It's, tremendous and all those other things.
I'm sure word of mouth definitely helped.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure word of mouth helped, but I think what also may have boosted it is everybody that saw the first one. For anybody who was like a detractor that was like, I'm not going to go see a cartoon movie. It's, if I wanted to see an animated Spider-Man, there's plenty of TV shows out there. The thing is, this is, in its right, it is a good movie. It is a great film. I don't care that part of it is animated. That is part of its art style, really. And you see that in full force in this as well. So, for everybody who recognized that in the first one and then said, I need more of that, and went to go see the second one, that definitely helped it as well, I think.
I still remember when we walked out of the first one, I wasn't sure what I was more shocked about. What a great job they did with the artwork, or that Sony made a good Spider-Man movie.
They accidentally made a good Spider-Man. Do not give them that much credit. That's what they tried to do themselves here.
Yeah, that's why Doug's rating is not a 9. Because Sony said, we can make great Spider-Man movies. Watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but if that's too loud.
No, what? I didn't hear anything.
You don't hear it? Okay, there's like a motorbike outside my window.
Oh, I heard it. I thought it was the dog growling for a minute.
Dog's not even here.
Oh.
Not even at home.
Yeah.
He went out drinking with his friends.
Yeah, he had playing cards.
Yeah.
Poker.
Oh, of course.
It's funny though. You know what the first thing
He had fun. He's playing Uno.
True. The first thing I noticed, seeing it again today, the name of the band that Gwen was playing in, the Mary Janes.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's funny. Yep. I was like, oh, that's really awesome. And I mean, there was so many just amazing little Easter eggs and everything else. It was too much to see. You would almost have to not watch the movie to try to find them all, because I was finding myself looking at off the center of the screen trying to find them a lot of the movie. And
that is,
I mean, like,
that's the benefit of being of watching it again, is you were able to watch it for the story the first time, and then the second time around you can definitely catch a lot more of the Easter eggs that maybe you missed the first time around.
That's why you watch it when it comes to streaming. You can watch it as many times as you want. Catch them all.
And you can pause it.
I will probably. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say I'll probably see it again in the theater, but I'm not sure if I'll have time before Flash comes out. And after Flash comes out, it's probably not going to be high on my priority list to check out Spider-Man again.
Do you think you're going to like? Because right now, as it stands, I think Across the Spider-Verse is my favorite movie so far this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Well, definitely Guardians for me.
Guardians is definitely 2, and I was thinking, God, this was so good. And I wonder if the Flash, if Flash is as good as people are saying, we're going to have Guardians 3, Across the Spider-Verse, and Flash all come out within like a month of each other. That'll be fantastic.
And then, hey, maybe Indiana Jones won't disappoint.
True.
Yeah. Okay.
True. Hey, the score's going up on Rotten Tomatoes. because the initial like backlash was all the Cannes Film Festival critics who were bashing it. And you know what? People come to us to get the real review when we see it as a theater. So hopefully, you know, it's obviously not going to be Citizen Kane, but hopefully it's at least enjoyable and entertaining. Hopefully it's not a, another Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, or we will be ranting and raving at the theater.
Keith never bashes movies, man, but if it comes out and it's that, Keith will bash that movie.
Hopefully they gave Harrison Ford time to sit down in his chair and eat his Activia yogurt and, taking a couple of naps in between shooting.
You know what? I'm just hoping it's better than Tomb Raider.
That's kind of a low bar.
God, it has to be.
What the hell, man?
Well, I don't know. Like we said, the Crystal Skull was so bad. But you know what? We're tangenting. Let's talk about Spider-Man.
Yes, thanks, Dave.
Yes.
Way to get us back
Good
on
idea.
track.
Thank you.
Reel that back in.
Thank you. I mean, one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie was how well it tied into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how much Miles missed, his friends that he teamed up with before, especially Gwen and Peter, and why they didn't see him. I thought was great. One of my favorite lines in the movie is when he's like, "Listen, you're a mistake. That spider was from another, universe. It wasn't even supposed to bite you. Your Peter died because of you. You aren't, you're not even supposed to be Spider-Man." And there's like, "This isn't what we talked about. How to, talk." And he goes, "You guys knew?" And Gwen goes, "I didn't know how to tell you." And I was like, "Oh man."
That's rough.
But you could see where knowing that sort of information, it would be hard to hang out with a friend and not be off a little bit, noticeably off to them because of that. And even when watching on a second time, you really catch all the little things, like, "Yeah, sorry I haven't visited. I couldn't." When she could, but she was banned from there because she didn't want, Miguel O Hara didn't want her hanging out with Miles, and just everything that went on. Even, later in the movie when Miles goes back to, he goes to Earth 42 instead of the end, he's like, "We got to go get him. We got to stop this. And we got to let it." And she's like, "Tell him he's wrong," to Jessica Drew. And she goes, "He's not." And I was like, oh man, it's so nice that they make these, very interesting characters able to disagree and not, all have good points about it. Like you watch this and you want, Miles saying, "I'm going to write my own history and it doesn't have to be that way." And then you hear, like Spider-Man 29, if it doesn't, it all goes to absolute crap. You could destroy this entire connected thing by breaking canon. And I enjoy the fact Tundra Walker had texted me and said, "I wasn't happy that they made canon the villain in this movie." And I'm like, I thought it was a great move.
I did too, yeah.
Because obviously they broke some, comic book canon with Miles and Spider-Gwen and all the things going on. So I thought it was a nice way to say, yeah, we know we're not, doing exactly what the comics does, but because we don't have to.
But we still got a good story.
We did.
And they did.
And speaking of the story, I love the way that this movie started. I am thrilled that it opened up the way that it did because that immediately hooked me in. I don't know about you two gentlemen, but when I found out, when we started up the movie and I see, we're getting these bright flashes of colors and, okay, this is Spider-Gwen, all right. And then I saw like the watercolor aesthetic that they were using and everything. I'm just like, okay, you got me. This is awesome. I love it. I love that we're getting one of the other main characters from the first movie, which connects the two together. That we're getting, again, another awesome art style to kind of show us, okay, this is going to be, again, we're sticking with the same themes, but we're doing things a little bit different. And I think she even says something like that, right? Isn't that like her first line?
Yeah, we were. I like the way we're handling it this time, or something. She said
Yeah.
that was, and the whole Vulture coming in, and I love the language. She's like,
I love the other Renaissance Vulture. That was great.
Paper Vulture. You might not want to do that since you're paper.
Right. Also, I love the they did another callback to the first movie when they're tearing apart the museum, and they they slice the balloon animal in half, and a bunch of little balloon animals come out. One guy goes, "I think it's a Banksy." Again, a direct line from the first movie when the all of the glitching was happening.
oh, and Carrie said, I loved how it was like a comedy set. It opened with drums and losing a band, but ends with her bringing a band. Great tie-in.
Yeah.
That was nice when at the end of the movie, when Spider-Punk gave her his wrist and she went and collected the gang from the first movie to go help. I enjoyed that. I thought that was great how they handled it. They didn't, like Peter Porker, Spider-Ham was such a hit from the first movie. They didn't rush to bring him back. They took their time. They knew what they were going to do. Let's bring him back for the third one. Let's have this story be, as organic as possible. And it just, was great. They really nailed it. Having the issue from the first movie that they solved be the reason why, like, the Vulture is coming into Gwen's, universe, and why they have to go in and, jump around to all these anomalies or these canon event thing that they have to solve. I just thought these writers really tied it all in together. There was nothing that they did that made me go, that's a bad choice. Story-wise.
I was going to say, yeah, story-wise, I also was very impressed. I liked the story. I will say there were some choices that they made in the movie. I spoke a little bit about it briefly in our at the theater review. That I think it's studio meddling. I could be wrong. Maybe the director actually did make the choice, but it screams Sony patting themselves on the back, and I won't use any other vulgar language, but it feels like this is what Sony is doing. They're like, we are the best. We make great Spider-Man movies. Everything we touch is gold. Have you seen Venom and Morbius? Are they not grade A, 100% the best? By the way, please have a serving of our live action. Do you remember how amazing they are? How awesome they are? Do you remember Far From Home or No Way Home? Do you remember No Way Home when we had the live action? What if we show you pictures, video clips of their movies? Aren't we as good as No Way Home now?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
definitely what they were shooting for. They wanted to recreate that nostalgia, and
I think that's what they were trying really hard to do.
Yeah,
The only thing I will...
You can't do it that fast after No Way Home. The very next Spider-Man movie that comes out, you try and do the same thing. It's not going to work twice in a
The
row.
only thing I will say to that is they were working on this well before No Way Home came out.
Well, I'm sure they made an adjustment.
Maybe, but I think I thought that seeing Tobey's Spider-Man with his Uncle Ben, seeing Andrew Garfield Spider-Man with his Uncle Ben was all part of talking about how you have to lose your uncle or have this major loss. I thought it fit into what the story they were telling, so I didn't take it like they were like, oh, we got to recreate this No Way Home magic. But there probably was a little bit in that, especially when No Way Home did so incredibly well at the box office. I just think it's kind of funny that, studios always do this. They get a great multiverse movie, so then another studio has to do something similar. And
Well, speaking of the multiverse, one of the things that I didn't mind, that I did kind of appreciate, and this is one of the things where I said that, I'm reeling myself in, if I may borrow your term, Dave, just a little bit.
We'll just pump the brakes, Doug.
I'm all right. I'll pump the brakes on myself just a little bit here, because I was a little taken aback by some of the choices that they made. But now that I think more about it, when they showed the little multiversal tree and it looked identical to the way that the MCU has shown it, I'm fine with that. I appreciate it. If they want to attempt to make this a part of the MCU, whether Disney is aware of it or not, best of luck to them. I guess I'm all right with that, because it's not really harming it the way that Morbius did, so it's okay. And I do like that they're using the same visual representation, but then they added on by showing the Spider-Verse overlaid on top of it. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Now let me ask you a question. If the Sonyverse is one of the many universes inside the MCU multiverse, how come when like Doctor Strange and American Chavez went to other dimensions, they weren't glitching?
So the movie could happen.
I thought of this. I was thinking about this after I saw it Thursday night.
Okay.
And I was watching it today.
The theory behind it.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Dave.
Ooh.
What I think is if you use magic to transverse the multiverse, you don't glitch.
Okay.
But if you use tech and you don't have something to anchor you there, that's when the glitching starts. And I don't know if we'll see something in the MCU where we see someone using tech to jump to another multiverse or another universe within the multiverse and it happens. But, oh, wait a minute.
So, is what America
Loki.
Chavez using, was that magic?
Yes.
Yeah,
basically.
I wasn't sure if that was magic. I just thought it was a mutant power.
But then I just thought of something. Loki. They use tech.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
But I guess they could have something to anchor them and where they're going to.
But but is it the same thing? Like, is a different timeline, is that also the same thing as a different universe?
I think so.
I've wondered, like, where the lines seem blurred. Because I wasn't entirely sure. Because it seemed like up until they killed He Who Remains, there wasn't a multiverse. There were just various timelines that they had to prune.
I think every timeline is a universe.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they're one and the same.
All right.
And they only pruned the ones that got too far off that could have created a Kang. But you're right, it is very, not very clear exactly what the difference is between an alternate timeline.
Dave may be right.
Universe.
I'm not sure.
No, I think he is, but I think...
Yeah, but they've never expressly said it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And yes, Carrie, the multiverse can be very confusing.
That's
I thought
why
they
it's
did a
my
great...
favorite thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
we
But
haven't brought that up in a while.
I do think they did a really good job of handling it in this movie. You know, the way they did in both this and the first movie, how they're like, "Hi, my name is Peter Parker." And, you know, they kind of give the backstory. Yeah. And they show the numbers in this so you can kind of keep track of it, where I don't think the MCU handles it as well. You know, when they're jumping around, you're not really sure what they are. Some of that is for storytelling effect.
Right.
Like they weren't announcing it when Miles got sent to Earth 42 instead of, you know, Earth 1610. It was funny because in the movie, as soon as it happened, I saw on the screen it said 42, and I'm like, that's not his Earth. That's from the spider. But Dave noticed that his jacket was the Prowler colors when he got to see his mom and stuff, and I didn't notice that. So they did a lot of very, and it was funny because today when I saw it again after David said it, it stood out to me so much. I'm like, how could I have missed that? But you know, they did a very good job of little hint when they weren't putting the the text block up there to tell you where they are. They did a very good job of subtly referencing where they're actually at.
I like how they also used the original naming convention for the MCU, the numbering, Universe 19999.
And don't get me started on what Doctor Strange and that little nerd did in Earth 199999. Which makes me want to watch Multiverse of Madness again. And No Way Home.
Something.
And Loki.
You know what I keep thinking about is the Venom verse, right? What are they going to do with Venom in the MCU? I mean, because Venom is there now. Are they allowed to use that character? Why would they tease us with that?
I only
I'm
think
sure
they
they would
can.
have to They would have to strike a deal with Sony like they did with Spider-Man. If they want to use Venom, they probably gotta make a deal as far as like how much money. But I don't know that the MCU is in a hurry to use Venom. They don't seem to, other than the joint ventures that they do with Sony, they don't seem to want to worry about making an extended Spider-Man universe and other Spider-Man movies.
So they just planted a seed, pretty much.
Possibly a little Easter egg, like maybe this will play out.
I do think, though, now is the time to bring Venom into the MCU because, Spider-Man no longer has all his powerful friends. Because I think one of the best part about, the whole story, Venom's origins, if you will, is, Spider-Man got that symbiote suit when he was at Secret Wars. And it gave him, extra power. He was like stronger, faster. His senses were more keen, and that helped him fight. And now that he doesn't have Iron Man and the Avengers and everybody else to fight with him, there may come a time when he faces a villain that he needs that extra power, and that may be how they write it in. Okay, I'm having MCU beats Sony to the punch, and we get the Sinister Six, and he needs that Venom suit to be able to, win, and then it starts having that negative effect on him. I think now is the time to do it. Now, whether, we did get that, like Dave said, the little Easter egg of that little bit of Venom being left behind. But Doug is also right. We know that the MCU can't do anything with any of Sony's characters unless they have contracts and everything explicitly laid out between the two. So,
I mean, we all know with our talks with Kevin Feige how badly he's wanted to tackle the Madam Web trilogy, but he can't because it's just tied up in the paperwork and there's too much red tape, so just has to let Sony have it.
That's the thing about Feige, though. He doesn't like to leave loose ends hanging out there. So if that's there, it's there for a reason. He's going to do something with it.
And honestly, with Venom with the hive mind, he knew who Spider-Man was. That's why he got pulled in, and maybe that piece will make its way to New York, and maybe we'll see it in the next movie. I doubt it, but I think in the next couple we could see, Peter Parker bonding with that symbiote.
I think it's funny how like all of the other villains were out there causing trouble, and Eddie Brock is just like, yeah, I'm gonna go drink. I'll just wait at this bar for however many days that was.
Well, that's because he's not a villain.
What if they bring the symbiote over, but not Venom? If you know what I mean. Just have him bond with Peter, and then when he's done with it, it doesn't turn into it doesn't go on to anybody else. It's just they find a way to eradicate it. Would that be within the contract, I wonder? Because it's just the symbiote, it's not actually Venom.
I think people would be marching at dawn.
Plus, I think that still has to do with. I think it's still a Spider-Man property, so I think that still falls under the territory of what Sony owns. It's why when we were talking about the idea that in Thor: Love and Thunder that we may end up seeing the sword of what was it called again?
The Necro Sword. The
Necro
Sword of Null.
Sword, which is supposed to be, has something to do with the symbiotes, like the king of the symbiotes owned it or whatever. So, I was hesitant. I was like, that would be really cool if they did that, but at the same time, again, that's contract they would probably have to sign with Sony just to even use anything related to the symbiote.
I'm sure they had to get consent from Sony to use the Necro Sword with, Gore the God Butcher, because it is tied to the King of the Symbiotes. So I'm sure there was some wheeling and dealing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't
all right,
know
but we get to film one more scene for Morbius. Oh fuck, God! All right, fine.
We don't need Michael Keaton there. We're still gonna pay him.
Right. We're gonna make him go on late night talk shows and say that he was there.
Yeah.
Get an AI to do the voice.
Doug, you mentioned earlier that they were trying to shoehorn all of their franchises in.
It really felt like that.
I did not see one Morbius reference.
I'm surprised. I'm really legitimately surprised.
And I would have spotted it.
I think there was probably a fight between Sony and the directors.
Come on.
No.
We
you're not
promised
doing-
Jared.
Yeah.
It'll be so good. What'd you do? No, we're not putting it. They probably said, okay, we'll film it. Then they just cut it and never told Sony.
No,
Where
we'll
was-
edit it up.
Where was that Morbius scene you put in? Oh, sorry, it hit the editing room floor.
Oh man, I must
You know
have
what?
just clipped a little too much out of the scene.
You know what the problem is? We were 3 minutes over on runtime. Sorry, we had to lose it.
We heard
you
this
know
was
what-
gonna. We heard that people didn't want this to be longer than Titanic, so we had to cut the.
You know what scene I really did appreciate though?
No.
I loved the little Lego reference. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh,
You're our
That
number
was,
one
that
Peter.
was so good to me. I gotta say, you know, I'm gonna keep like I said, it was those minor nitpicks that I didn't like, but the rest of it is praise for this movie. And one of the things that they did fantastic that they did in the first movie too, they nailed the voice actors. I mean, the casting was phenomenal. When I was sitting there, you know, looking at the credits, I was just like, "Oh my god! Oh, that was Jason Schwartzman, the dude from oh my god, Scott Pilgrim." At the end, they're just like,
Yeah.
he was
Gideon.
the Spot.
you know
Oh,
what?
and
I had the opposite. I was talking to Keith about it after the movie. I'm usually really good at picking out voices,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the credits rolled, I'm like, I knew Hailee Steinfeld, and then I saw a couple of other people that were voicing characters, and I didn't, I thought back, I didn't recognize them, like Jack Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know who he was.
I know who he
that
played.
Andy Samberg was Ben Reilly.
Oh yeah, yep.
I thought that was great because, like, I normally would be able to pick up on his voice. I didn't recognize it, and that was another character that was like really over the top and hilarious.
And it was funny because I wanted to know. I knew Jack Quaid was in this, and we knew none of us knew who he was playing. So Thursday night, I'm watching the credits, and I also wanted to see who played the Spot because I'm like, I know that voice, and I couldn't place it. And it was so funny. Jack Quaid was the last entry on the credits, on the first credits scene, and instead of having rolling credits, they showed it. And I scroll down and I get to Jack Quaid, and as soon as I'm like moving over to see who he's playing, it was gone. But I saw it again today, and I was smarter than normal. I remember, I'm like,
Okay,
I gotta look. I'm like, I have to see who he played. And he played the Peter Parker from Gwen's universe that turned into the lizard and died.
Okay.
And I was like, now I gotta see it again to see if I can recognize, because I didn't recognize his voice at all as that Peter Parker.
Kind of like a pained, dying voice, so it'd probably be difficult to. I just wanted to be special, like you.
There was no references to Billy Joel, so it was really hard to figure out that it was him.
Oh man, I really loved Oscar Isaac as Miguel O Hara. Really good. Thought he did an excellent job. I was partially right when we were doing our Theory Palooza.
No, you were 100% right.
I was under the assumption that Spot was just going to be like a minor little thing in the in the beginning of the movie, just one of the villains that he happened to tackle in a larger picture. Just like, okay, well, arrest him and everything like that, whatever he's, because that's how he's always been. Like even in the 90s animated series, he was kind of a joke villain then too. Like he
Like Kite Man.
yeah, yes, exactly like Kite Man. He's just like Kite Man. So I thought for sure that Miguel O'Hara was going to be the primary villain, or the antagonist, I guess. And he kind of was, but I didn't realize that the Spot would become so menacing. Like, I did not expect that.
He was the
Well, it's
overall
not
big
over.
threat.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't see that coming.
It's not over.
And-
There's still another movie that's connected to this one, and we'll see who
There
the
is?
prime antagonist is. Yes, sir. It's coming out next March, and I think you should be there.
And Carrie just asked, did you guys know it'd be a sequel? Yes. They did announce that it was
Yeah.
originally going to be Across the Spider-Verse Parts 1 and 2. And then they
Yep.
changed it to Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse. But
They
one
did
of the
that because
main...
of the backlash that they got.
Yeah. But if someone would have told me that the Spot, who I was with Doug, I was I'm like, he's such a joke villain. They're going to use his powers to set up some multiversal shenanigans. I never once thought you would be able to have a villain like the Spot be like the overall huge villain for two, not one, but two movies. And I love it when writers can do that. They can take a little known villain and let's tweak him a little bit. Let's do this and let's make him a better villain. And that's another reason why I like this movie. They took a joke villain and they even made jokes about it in the movie. He's just another villain of the week. I'm not a villain of the week. And they showed you why he's not. They played it out. It worked tremendously.
So, like I said, they did try to kind of do that in the 90s Spider-Man. He was, at first, his first introduction, he was a bit of a joke villain that Spider-Man handled pretty quickly. But then in his later appearance, they're like, hey, we got to flesh this guy out. We can't just let him be a joke villain. And they gave him this backstory that I don't think he had in the comics. They said that him and his wife were both scientists that worked for the Kingpin and, experiment. He created black holes and his wife got stuck in the black hole universe. And so he was trying to find a way to pay to complete his scientific experimentation as a way to get her back. And so that's why he got into a life of crime, was so that way he could fund his scientific research.
Yeah.
And
once again,
that's what they did in the 90s. And so the fact that they decided we're not even going to give him a nice, happy backstory, we're going to be like, no, he wants to be evil. He's totally, into this stuff now. I'm just like, that's a route to go, too. All right, cool.
Cannon was the villain in this movie.
The ATM.
So changing his...
Why? I'm a criminal.
And honestly, I'm not stealing from you. The bank owes the ATM. I wouldn't steal from you. But with Cannon being the enemy...
Red dropping out of his hole.
With Cannon being the real villain of the movie and changing his story, totally making it different and having it fit into the first movie, just was another nod at, we're going to do our own thing and we're going to make the best movie we can.
So that was something that something else that if you want to go back to, why did this have to be a thing in Across the Spider-Verse, but you don't see it being that big of a deal in any of these other multiversal, things where canon is such a big deal. The main thing that I think the MCU multiverse has to deal with is if somebody from another universe stays too long or whatever, or meddles, uses a dark hold, I think is what they said in Doctor Strange, and that can cause an incursion. But I don't think they've ever mentioned in the MCU that if you don't allow a certain thing to happen, that can cause a giant black hole to appear. So, I'm wondering, is that specific to the Spider-Verse, or is this a normal universe thing? In every situation where there's, oh my God, what is in every situation where there's, a Thor or something, if he somehow doesn't lose his hammer, or doesn't lose his powers or whatever, does that cause a black hole to appear, something that's consistent in the story?
Remember in What If, Doctor Strange wanted to save or not get in a car accident? And no matter what he did, it always happened. And I can't remember what they called it.
Girlfriend.
Yes, and no matter what he did, it always didn't work out. And they had a name for it too. Itself. Yes, it wouldn't work, and so it was a vanishing point. I can't remember now.
Yeah, a Nexus event.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. That's because it happens along every universe,
every timeline. Oh, right, and then everything started disappearing around him. Oh, so would that be the same thing? Because he was
maybe
trying
close
to use
enough.
He's trying to use the Darkhold and gain he was absorbing all the demonic powers and everything to get all of this magic power in order to stop it from happening. And then as he was holding her in What If, she started to vanish and the whole world vanished around him.
Yep.
Some
similarities.
Nexus events, man. Just gotta let them happen.
I guess. I don't know.
Too bad you don't know what they are before they happen, though.
Well, apparently, if you're a captain, you die. that's
Yeah,
that's all
the
you
whole
need to know.
captain thing.
Captain Rogers.
That'd be that would be like the worst thing possible to like hear now. Like as soon as somebody finds out that that's the rule, oh, you're being promoted. No, the fuck, I'm not.
Yeah, nope.
Wait,
I
hold on a
decline.
sec.
In fact, I
Colonel?
quit.
I'll go to Colonel. I'll skip.
Right.
Before I accept this promotion, I gotta go talk to my kid for a minute. Can you stick to walls? Can you? No, Dad, I swear. Okay, now I feel comfortable taking
Have
the
you
promotion.
heard of Spider-Man? Have you ever seen him? Maybe. Is he like one of your friends? Did you watch him on TV one day? You did. Great. Okay. Yep, I quit. All right, great.
You know,
Anthony Tennille, forget it. He's gone.
Gonzo.
one of the other scenes I thought they set up so nicely was when he got to Earth 42. You know, they said multiple times, because Earth 42 spider bit you, not only did your Peter die, but, they don't have a Spider-Man in that Earth anymore. And when he showed up there and he's like, Mom, I just got to tell you this. I'm Spider-Man.
Who?
Who's Spider-Man? Are you doing cosplay at Comic-Cons? And I do. I think I was laughing so hard again today when basically, Miles was talking with Gwen, and then his parents came up, and she's like, I'm not trying to ice your game. He goes, people my age never use those words in that order.
That was great.
Having a
laughing at
teenager
that.
in my home now, I know this happens on a regular basis.
Did she go see it today?
No, she stayed home.
Ah.
My daughter's at the point.
That you were at.
It was pretty full. It was Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and it had a lot of people in it. Like, once again, it made $120 million. I think this movie's going to have legs for weeks and weeks, too. The only thing that could hurt it, Transformers, Beast Wars comes out this Friday. No, we will not be at the theater reviewing it, people. Then The Flash comes out, and then Dial of Destiny. So there's a lot of those big summer tentpole movies coming out. But I still think, I have no idea what Transformers, Beast Wars is going to do. I know Sully, my 7-year-old, wants to see it really bad. But I just don't hear a lot of other chatter from people saying, oh, I got to see it. It's not like other movies like that where on Twitter and other things you hear people talking about it. It's non-existent. Yeah, I don't know if it's just people are kind of
really, the way they've kind of messed up Transformers so far. Why would anybody be excited for another one?
Have they really messed up Transformers, Dave? I feel like they went out and they did exactly what they intended on doing. To me, Transformers is exactly what I expected it to be. So I'm really not all that surprised by just what it is. It's like
amazing
Fast
to
and
me that
Furious to me.
That they've had as many movies as they have. Their first mistake was hiring Michael Bay.
Well, I was just going to say that.
Again, exactly what they wanted to do.
I have not seen one Transformers movie.
I have.
As
Wait, I
soon as
thought you
Michael
guys
Bay
worked
was the
on Bumblebee.
director, well, we did.
Is that a Transformer movie?
It is, but
Bumblebee?
none of the first ones. We ended up,
Ah.
I didn't see any of the Transformers movie on my own. The only reason we saw Bumblebee was for the channel.
Yeah.
I think, do we have to pay for that? I know we saw it a week early, but I don't know if we got it.
We did have to pay for it, yeah.
Interesting. I don't think I was part of the channel when you guys went to go see it, or if I was, somehow I skipped it or missed it.
We'll have to go back and watch. I want
not
to
sure.
find out.
Me and Keith.
Yeah,
That
it might
was
have
right
been.
before Christmas one year.
Because that was another movie I was not very nice to.
Was
I
it
do know
the same year
one
as
of the-
Thor? Ragnarok?
No, because Ragnarok was the first one we did. We'll look it
Right,
up. We
and if
can
it was
find
like
it.
a month later, then it, because Ragnarok was is November 5th, 2017. I remember that. And then was Bumblebee December of that same year? I think so.
Really? Wow.
Yes, and I don't know how soon it was that we started having you and Stefano come with us.
I want to say one of
It was
the
less than a year,
first
though.
movies that I went to go see with you guys was when you were still going to Phoenix. So I went with you guys there. But I don't
know
remember
it
which
wasn't
one it was.
Bloodshot. It was something before
Bloodshot was right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird because we were trying to go see it at Imagine, and they didn't have it because of the pandemic. And we're like, we're going to Phoenix. Why? Why is it so empty?
We saw Bloodshot, and then we didn't see another movie until your favorite movie, Wonder Woman 84. So that was like an 8-month time period. We didn't see a movie.
So bad.
You know, Doug, I
luckily,
think
that's when
you
Disney Plus started.
were with maybe not. Hold on, I'm still finding it. It was a long time after that. One day we're gonna figure out when you started coming on camera with us, because the Bumblebee, it has a my title card on it, so you know it was a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it was after
Oh,
the
date
Young
on it?
Justice Outsiders.
Should have a date on it.
No, I know, but it's on. Hold on, it's on my phone. Let me take a look. Let me drill into it. December 8th, 2018.
Oh, so it's a year after
Yep.
Thor. And Doug still wasn't with us?
I'm
I
checking
might have
right
been
now.
seeing movies with you, but I didn't. I saw like about 2 or 3 movies with you guys before I ever appeared on camera. The first on camera thing that I did on camera, and heavy quotes, that I did with you guys was I was with Keith and we did a trailer breakdown for Endgame.
Why wasn't I there?
It was at the office. Work
And
office.
Doug was not a part of the video. It was just me and Dave in front of the same Imagine area that we always do it. So you
Oh,
definitely
for
might have
Bumblebee?
been there. Yes.
I do know that one of my most embarrassing Not Your Status Quo moments, you guys invited me to go see Alita Battle Angel, and it was before we were using Slack, so you had told me that we were going to go see it, but you never told me what time, and I just assumed that it was going to be at at one of the theaters in Imagine, so I sat down in the seat to wait to see if you guys walked in. Did not see either of you, and I waited there for probably a good half an hour, 45 minutes or something like that, and I'm looking and I'm like, I never saw either of those two walk in. What the hell? And I had tried texting both of you guys, and then eventually it's like, well, maybe I'm just at the wrong theater. And finally I walked back out to my car, and that's when Keith finally texted me back, oh, movie's over. Sorry, I didn't check. And I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, well, goodbye.
I think I remember going like the whole movie, like, where's Doug? I hope he's okay.
I was sitting outside the entire time, waiting to see if you guys were coming in so I knew what theater to go to. I figured it was like around 7, so I showed up at like 6:30, and I was like, man, I have no idea where the hell they are.
Thank God we have Slack now.
Yes. Much easier to keep in touch and figure out, like, what time, where to go, see the tickets, all that good stuff. Talking about day-to-day operations of having a movie review.
Of a YouTube channel, yes.
This is behind the curtains to see how it all runs.
Should we tell people that we actually filmed the...
No,
Okay.
don't tell them.
Yeah, that's too secret. That's for our Patreon.
That's a trade secret.
Yes.
The 8mm stuff?
No.
Never mind.
Yeah, we can't tell them that actually what we do is we've got 3 cameras that are set up, and then we purposely downgrade it during the editing process to make it look like it's filmed on a phone. But we've got like full lav mics and everything. You know, we edit those out. You know, just color over them and everything.
Of course.
Well, we've been in tangent time for a little bit.
That's pretty normal for us.
No, I love tangent time. I think it's one of our better qualities. I hope the people out there think so too.
Now.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, think of how many more hours of videos we would have had if we would have kept tangent time in all that time.
The only things that I am glad that we did cut from our videos that was kind of a tangent time was when none of us could remember an actor or a movie or like a plot point, and then you just see the three of us on our phones like, how did you do? What was the person? Who was in that thing? And it was just like silence as we're staring at our phones. Probably a good idea to cut that out.
No, people love to watch that. What, are you kidding me?
You know, it's funny because I always try to do my research before ever we stream or do a video. And something always gets brought up that I'm like, I should have known that was going to be brought up. How did I not figure it out? Because, you know, I'm absent-minded. I need notes. I have pages and pages of notes in OneNotes for some videos.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I'm like, I want to remember this, I want to remember this, because, you know, you get on camera sometimes and you're like, what was that? What was it?
Terrible memory. So
That's so. Not to like say that we're unprofessional, but one of the things that I've heard that other people that are in our profession do is a lot of times they will literally have a notebook with them when they go see a movie, because they're constantly jotting down notes, their thoughts. You know, who did this, who did that, what happened at this plot point. You know, and that's all well and good, but wow, would that ruin a movie for me? Also, I'm not that quick.
Yeah. You know what's funny,
you
though?
don't save that for the second or third viewing. You know, then you take your notes.
Whenever I'm watching something for the second time for the channel, like, not in the theater. I never take anything to write in the theater. I probably should. But, like, if I'm watching a show for the second time, like when Secret Invasion comes out, after the first episode, like, I'll watch the first watch, I just sit and watch it.
Yep.
But the second time I watch it, I'm adding notes in Slack to myself. Because, you know, you send it to yourself. I'm like, oh, look this up. That was weird. Why did I see that? Or, you know, it's a lot easier. Like, I couldn't do it the first time because it would ruin it. My reviews would be shitty every time. I'm like, this movie sucked. When I was trying to write down a note, something happened that I missed, and it was part of the end plot, and now I'm mad. I give it a 1.2.
So
in fact, I wrote this review on GPT, so
I did do that for Wonder Woman 84. I was taking notes. Like, once I realized, like, it was almost right out the gate. Like, once I realized, oh, this is going to be bad, I paused it, and I'm like, I got to get my notebook. And so that's what I'm like, okay. And so we were like 5 minutes in, like, yeah, nope, this is dumb. Okay, so lesson learned, don't do what you need to do to win the race. It's actually bad. Okay. So shortcuts. All right. Okay. So we're gonna see the. All right. Oh, there's the golden armor. Let's see how that's gonna play into later. It doesn't. Great. Okay.
See, your notes were much more in depth than mine. My notes were, why am I still watching this? Do I really have to finish watching this? Dear God, I'm going to. Should I quit the channel so I don't have to finish watching this?
The other time where I was doing that. Not really taking notes to myself, but back when Loki was on, I think I must have been like watching it around the same time of the day that Carrie was, because we would text each other back and forth. She'd be like, "Can you believe this happened?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, I know. Did you catch this Easter egg?" and everything like that. And that was, I would refer back to that when we were talking about it. Like, okay, what was the discussion that I had with Carrie about Loki?
And I just hope after season 2 of Loki that Carrie will come back and join us for a stream with the sound on, so we can talk about Loki. That's still I still have nightmares about doing that. It's like,
it's all right. It's in the past. You can you can learn from it.
That's my key. I don't forget it because I don't want to repeat it. as soon as I forget about it, it'll be like, why is there no sound on this video? What's going on?
Oh my gosh, the very first time that I recorded something when you weren't there, Keith, I didn't know I didn't really know the nuances of like how we were supposed to like do it to avoid um getting a whole bunch of like loud noise. So it was when Dave and I went to go see uh Zombieland. Zombieland 2 or whatever it was called.
Yeah, it was
Zombieland 2, yeah. With so we had this bright idea, okay, we're gonna film while sitting in the chairs with no sort of wall or anything to like cushion the noise, so everything is just echoed. And when I ended up uploading the video to my computer to start editing it, I'm like, oh my god, this sounds terrible. And so
Nice.
now like I realize, I don't know if you chose to do this intentionally, but the fact that we have a backdrop behind us of some kind, the sound is absorbed by whatever is behind us, and that's what makes it sound better.
I think we just started doing that to look a little more official. I wasn't thinking about the sound.
It actually works though for the acoustics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And Carrie said
seriously,
Carrie did say she's going to bring her cup and wear the Loki shirt.
Nice.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Nice.
Hopefully, we'll be getting a when is
Trailer?
Loki coming out again? Is it October or November?
I don't know. Are they going to delay it or push any of it back because of the strike?
No, it's all filmed and ready to go. There's
Well,
no
I
more
know it's
writing needs to be
filmed,
done.
Are they going to try and like give themselves a little more cushion, that way they don't have a whole empty spot,
That's a good point. They haven't announced it, and they did announce it was coming this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they'll delay it. I hope not, at least.
Well, what do they got coming this year? They got Secret Wars this month. Not
Secret
Wars,
Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
That is this month? Okay, cool.
That's this
June
month.
21st, yep.
June 24th. Nice. All right,
And you
good.
said Echoes this year,
Then we got Ahsoka in July
right?
or
Oh,
August,
that's in
early
July.
August.
I was going to say, I thought that was August.
It's August.
Okay.
And then
Echo.
I think
Echo
it's
comes out
Loki.
all at one day, though.
I tweeted about this. We have that. Oh yeah, Loki is October 6th, 2 days before my birthday, and then
all right.
Echo is November something, and they're all dropping on the same day. So yes, October 6th is Loki. So that'll run to mid-November. Wait, was it six episodes? The first season?
I'm not sure, but I thought it was 8.
Well,
We'll have to check.
hopefully Loki will end with him
Hey, that's
taking.
not nice.
Hopefully Loki will end with him taking Mobius and Mobius to go see the Captain America
Morbius.
musical.
Oh,
Oh my God, Doug, I'm going to hold you personally responsible if that happens.
See, that wasn't so bad. You were the bad guy in that. Yes, but it was still great songs.
When they come out
all
with
right.
the
Let's see here.
Captain America the musical, I am buying it for you as a gift. And it'll be he has to watch it before he watches anything else. No.
No. Oh, God. I think that would fall under cruel and unusual torture. That would definitely be against the Geneva Conventions. They would arrest you, Keith.
Do we have the Geneva Conventions with scrolls?
No.
Yes.
They opted not to sign it.
6.
It was 6? Okay.
Yep.
I know they haven't announced how many episodes the second season is getting, but I'm going to assume it's probably the same. Which
Yeah. According to IMDb, season 2 also has 6.
And Echo has
Which-
how many?
I do believe it's 6 also.
Yeah, I think Echo has 6. I'll look it up, but I think it is 6.
There was I was laughing on Twitter. Someone was talking about how they're like Echo is going to be so bad they're dropping on Sunday. Someone was like, I hear Kevin Feige said this was his favorite. It was like some person probably has no idea it's Kevin. I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. You know, the other person was like, oh, I wonder if that's true. I don't think that's going to be true.
We got this covered. This just in, Kevin
Yeah.
Feige reported this is true.
Cosmic Wonder.
It's just like, you know, when you
Our
see
source, we got this covered.
my brothers
Yeah,
are showing me.
That's right.
Here's the trailer for Echo Season 2.
I was laughing because, you know, people on the internet are just awesome. But someone said something and they're like, slow down, Jeffrey Dahmer. And someone was like, why would you say that? He was a horrible murderer and stuff. And someone put, first day on the internet.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah. By the way, Echo is 6 episodes. So there we have that.
I will be right back.
Yep,
No, you won't.
I have to get more Absolutely juice.
excellent.
But you won't be back soon enough.
He's been gone too long. But, you know, it will be interesting to see. Doug makes a good point. I hadn't thought of that. If the writer's strike goes on much longer, will they try to stagger things out a little more? So, because if you get to a point, they're like, we're done with new shows for a while. But if they push things out a little bit, I just hope, pay the writers, get it done, so we don't get, you know, another break in the action. Because we don't want the break in the action. We want quality shows. We want everything.
Yeah. I remember when they started, like, when that happened last time, they put, like, Dexter on regular TV, on, like, CBS, because they needed to fill the space. And that was season 7 of Smallville, so go ahead and hit your button there. And I remember that because the last, it's supposed to be 22 episodes long, and they only had 20 episodes that season because of the writer's strike. But those last 4 episodes of season 7 were probably the best in the whole series, I thought. You know, that's the ones where Lex finds out about Clark. And then subsequently leaves the show.
Yeah, I'm glad he came back, though, because the dynamic between Clark and Lex was really what drove that show the most.
Oh, yeah. It was beautiful. He said he left the show. I watched an episode of it, Talkville, and Michael Rosenbaum had the original producers on the show. He's like, yeah, the reason I left after season 7 is because you guys left. And, you know, they did 3 more seasons with all the producers that were under them manning the show. But he didn't want to work without them, I guess.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Comes back.
What a miss.
No, we were talking about
doing
Smallville.
Smallville rant.
That didn't take long.
I wish I could hear it.
One day we'll all be in the same room. We'll be able to hear that together, so that'll be nice.
That'd be nice.
Did you
I
say
can't
Monday?
wait. One
No, I
day.
did not.
Oh.
One day.
I was like, what are we doing Monday? Did
You
you guys
didn't
not
know?
invite me?
You forgot already?
Do I sound like I'm underwater tonight?
No,
No.
not at all. Why? Are
Why
you
are you
underwater?
I am underwater, can't you tell?
I knew it.
No, the sound level seems good. You don't sound like Merman.
I'm in a fishbowl.
Well, anything else about Across the Spider-Verse that we should talk about?
Yeah,
I did-
let's go ahead and one more time, kind of like just restate if our ratings have changed, or if they're still the same.
Before we get into that, I do want to say one of my nephews, because I saw it again
Okay.
today with a bunch of my family, was very upset that it was a to be continued. And I don't think he knew there was another one coming out next year when we sat down
Really?
to watch it. And I hope that helps, because I like the way they handled it. I like to have things, because you know what we can talk about? What's next?
Boom.
We can talk about
Ooh.
what's going to happen in Beyond the Spider-Verse, and you know, it'll be great. Yes, everyone. It was funny both times I saw it, which doesn't always happen in the theater. People clapped at the end of it, which doesn't happen that often. And when it said to be continued, you could hear like, And people were shocked. I'm like, how much longer did you want this movie to be? I mean, I would have sat
Right.
5 hours. I would have been fine with it. I would have need a little potty break, but
Yeah, I don't remember being like, when is this gonna end or anything? You know, I mean,
No.
what was? I could have taken another 20 minutes easy, but you
But
know,
I in a similar vein, I was like noticing that things were starting to like. It seemed almost like it was ramping up a bit, and I'm like, oh, I think because again, the three of us knew, coming in that this was going to be a part one, even though Sony and all of their majestic wisdom thought if we take away the part one from all the marketing, people won't know. It's like, guys, you had it up for like almost a half a year, telling everybody this is Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, nope, just kidding, it's not. We all knew going in. So, like, when everything started ramping up, I'm like, ooh, I think it's going to end soon.
yep.
and it did. It was one of those movies where it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it didn't seem like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I was a little shocked. Not that it said to be continued, that we were already at that point in the movie. I was like, whoa, this hour's 2 hours, and this movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes. How are we there already? So, I mean, that says a lot about a movie when, the time spent watching it doesn't seem like the actual time.
Well,
So I guess-
to be fair, Carrie, so you said
To be
that
fair,
a lot of people in your feed weren't like aware of this happening. To be fair, this movie was announced back before the pandemic. When they said it was going to be Into the Spider-Verse Part 1, they announced it end of 2019, maybe beginning of 2020. So it was quite a while ago that this happened. It's very easy for... I wouldn't be even a bit surprised if most people who didn't have this movie on their radar either didn't realize or had forgotten. Again, we're talking about this stuff like constantly, so it was always just kind of there, like, So yeah, I can certainly appreciate the fact that the vast majority of folks probably either forgot or didn't know.
Yep. And it wasn't like, I still will not forget the audience at the end of Infinity War. When it was like, I think everyone was thinking, okay, they're going to stop him. He's not going to get all the Infinity Stones. When he snaps,
Yeah.
and everyone just disappears, and they're like, Thanos will return. People are like,
But see, knowing that didn't spoil anything for me. Like, knowing that this was going to be a part one, it didn't spoil anything for me because I fully admit, I did not know the direction it was going to go in. I didn't realize how big of a player the Spot was going to be. So, I also didn't know, obviously until the end, that Miles was going to end up in a different universe where he wasn't Spider-Man.
You know what's funny is when they first had the Spot on there. Do you know what I thought? Rorschach.
The way that they were moving around, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, what? What are they doing here? It's just funny.
once again, Zack Snyder is the blueprint, guys.
Oh no! Don't say
Oh,
that.
I shouldn't have said anything. Now the Snyder Cuts are going to come out.
Now it's ruined.
But okay, Doug made a good point. Let's revisit our ratings from Thursday night. Dave?
Well, I
What do you
didn't
think?
see it again. So, and
But have you thought about it? Has anything
You've
changed?
dwelled on it. Have you let it absorb into your being?
and I was so busy ever since we saw it, I didn't really have a chance. Just the things that stuck out to me when I thought about it, like today, are the live action parts. Obviously, we said spoilers, so with Donald Glover being in it, that really stuck out to me when it happened. I was like, oh, that's so cool, But then, I kind of like the background stuff that Doug was talking about, but when after Doug talked to me about it, I thought, yeah, it's kind of cheesy. So he swayed my opinion. So yeah, it would stay the same for me. I still plan on seeing it again, see if it'll go up. But I'm hoping I have to get it in before we go and see. I know that's what she said. Before we go and see the Flash, or else I'm not going to see it after that. Because the Flash looks so good, I'm probably going to see that a few times in the theater. So no, I'd say my rating stays the same, about 6.5. I didn't hate it, but I'm not gonna give it as high a rating as, like, say, I think I give Guardians like a 9 or an 8. I just don't see it being in that same realm.
Okay.
So, but it is above average. And if we're going with 5 as average, I'd say 6.5.
All right, that makes sense. Keith?
What about you?
Well, I definitely, after seeing it today, one of my, I think, major complaint, not even a major complaint, one of my minor complaints was I didn't think the music was as good in the second one as it is in the first one, which is still true, but I think they did a really good job seeing it a second time. During Gwen scenes, there's a certain sort of, punker soundtrack to it. When Miles is on, there's much more of an R&B, jazz, rapping sort of thing. And I think they do a good job of switching from scene to scene and changing that music up. We get some Indian music, with, I forget what Earth that was, with the Indian, Peter Parker, whatever his name was. I can't remember what it was. And I think they do a good job of handling all that. And seeing it again, I thought the music was better than I thought it was the first time. I think it was a little jarring when I watched it the first time to see them kind of changing it up, changing the flow up during the movie. But they did, they restarted the movie 20 minutes in after the Gwen thing. So I thought it worked the second time for me a little better. None of the live action thing. I think the reason they threw the Venom clip in there, or the Speedy Mart, or the Quickie Mart, or the Circle K, whatever that scene was from Venom. I don't think it was as bad as you guys are thinking. It wasn't as cheesy, only because they did it to show that when the Spot is there, he could reach into the multiverse. So it's just like them. I just think let's have, the lady from the grocery store in Venom be there to take a pack of gum or whatever. I thought it worked better than you guys did. And I thought, Donald Glover there was great. The second time we see him, I was like, did we really need that again? But it didn't, lessen my enjoyment of the film. And I think, we talked about how great the voice actors are. I thought the plot not only did a great job of, I always talk about things as the sixth sense, where you watch it the first time, you miss all of the clues showing you that Bruce Willis was dead. And I'm sorry if I spoiled The Sixth Sense for anybody, but that movie came out 20 years ago.
I haven't seen that movie yet.
But watching it the second time today, you see where some of these things that happen later in the movie, they set it up nicely. They talk about it when, we find out that, Gwen and Peter both knew all this stuff about Miles and just felt they didn't know how to talk to him about it and why they didn't see him. I thought all of that worked well, and the way they tied things into the first movie, with the Spot being a scientist, working where the collider, when it blew up, it turned him into this, and he blamed Miles. He's like, I turned you into something amazing, and you turned me into this. I can't work. I can't have friends. I can't do anything. You ruined my life, and I made your life. I just think all of that worked tremendously well. And much like Guardians Volume 3, the plot was so well, scraped out from start to finish. It employed stuff from the first film, just like Guardians, Volume 3 incorporated things from Volume 1 and Volume 2. And when you see them again, like Rocket wanting all of these, legs and arms and eyes is because his friends had these artificial arms, and it hits harder and it hits better. And I think this movie did that well, and I hope it continues when we see Beyond. And because of that, I'm definitely upping mine from a 9.2 to a 9.5. I really think this film is going to be one of those that absolutely, stands the test of time and is going to be thought of as in high regard, 5-10 years from now than as it is right now.
Doug, let's hear yours.
All right, so like I said in the beginning, I don't think I'm actually going to alter my score, but I am altering my thoughts a little bit. So, yeah, I will, like I said, I'm pumping the brakes a little bit on my overall thoughts on some of the background stuff. The one thing though that, and the reason why it was a nitpick for me, is I think what helped make Into the Spider-Verse work so well is the fact that it could stand on its own. It didn't feel it needed to be propped up by anything else. It didn't need to be a part of any larger universe other than the one that it created with the Spider-Verse. It didn't need to bring in the other Sony stuff or the MCU or anything like that. And I thought that was in itself, I thought that was a strength, really. I thought that really worked in its favor. The fact that they didn't feel that it needed to do that. But one of the other things that I think help it, and one of the things that I really appreciate, going back to what you were talking about, Keith, is the fact that you can tell clearly when they wrote these movies, they planned them all out from the beginning. Because going back and having them show that the Spot was in the background and he had a bagel tossed at the back of his head, that he had been there the whole time, knowing that at the very end, when they did what we thought was just a funny gag, the whole pointing, no, you're Spider, no, I'm Spider-Man, no, I'm Spider, and it turns out that that was Spider-Man 2099, that was Miguel O Hara, that was him recruiting another Spider-Man into this Spider Society, as Carrie put it and everything. So, like, the fact that they were setting all of this stuff up, in fact, even the one scene where we see, Spider-Gwen coming down through the portal, we end up seeing that, replayed in this movie. So it was nice being able to see the connection, that they had clearly thought all of this out and they knew the direction they wanted it to go in. They knew that it was going to be bigger than just Into the Spider-Verse. So I really appreciate a lot of that about the movie. I also agree with you. The soundtrack didn't quite do it for me in the second movie. It didn't grab me. And Carrie, gotta agree with you. It is in my playlist rotation. It's actually in one of my liked playlists in my Spotify, and I'll go back to it every now and again just to listen to it. And it definitely made me appreciate what's his name as an artist a little bit more than I did before, because I will admit I definitely judged a book by its cover. So when I saw oh my gosh, what is his name?
Justin Bieber.
No. Guy with the tattoos on his face.
Post Malone.
Post Malone. The first time I saw him, I'm like, nah, there's no way that guy's any good. He's gonna be some, whiny, he's not gonna sing very. And then when I heard, that song Sunflower, I'm like, oh my god, that's him? Like, oh dang, all right, wow. And then I started listening to him, listening to a few other songs. I'm just like, wow, okay, he's got a good voice. I give him credit. No kidding, I was surprised, but I didn't really hear any songs that grabbed me in the same way in this movie. But it's fine. That really wasn't that big of a deal because the story was carrying it well enough. It didn't require certain musical interludes the same way. It didn't, and I'm glad that they didn't just shoehorn anything in. It wasn't like the first Suicide Squad movie where it felt forced. If they would have done that, if they would have said, hey, people are expecting a good soundtrack, we got to force songs in, I would have been like, that didn't fit, that didn't need to be there. So I'm glad that they made the decision, okay, look, we don't need to have a bunch of bangers in this movie. It's no big deal. The story is carrying it along just fine. We don't really need to have musical interludes to transition. So it was okay. Like I said, nothing grabbed me about it, but it was fine. The story was amazing. The voice acting was phenomenal. There was a lot of people that I didn't realize that they were playing that voice role until I ended up watching the credits and then looking it up afterwards. I was like, oh. When I saw Andy Samberg, I'm like, really? I'm like, he was Ben Reilly? And he's doing this goofy narration thing, and I'm just like, okay, this is hilarious. That's perfect. I love it. And I love how they had so many spider people that I recognized. They even they had Spectacular Spider-Man from the animated series. It was really cool seeing a little clip of him. It was cool seeing a black and white Spider-Man. It was neat seeing just all of these different characters. And there's a couple of things that you just blink and you'll miss it. Spider-Man, here and there. It's oh, I recognize that one. Oh, I recognize that one.
I just have to make one point about that. I was laughing out loud again today when the Spider-Man from the 1969 Spider-Man theme, when he's like, I've got him! And the animation was so slow back then. He's swinging at him, and Miles just easily dodges him. And he's like,
Right,
"Oh,
yeah,
I guess I don't."
I love when Spider-Man 2099 announces, "Get Spider-Man." They're all looking at each other like, "Miles Morales, get him!" It's like, why would you announce it like that? They're all Spider-Man. So Carrie says, the Spider-Man Society confuses me because in the first, it's they're all alone, but Peter appeared to know about it for a while. Yes, that is because, like, directly after what ended up happening in Into the Spider-Verse, that's when Miguel O'Hara was going around recruiting people. We end up seeing that in the post-credit scene from the first movie, that he gets alerted by his little AI that there's something going on. And so then that, like I said, the little joke clip where he confronts the Spider-Man from the 60s animated series, that's him recruiting. So the reason why Peter knew about it for a while is because they had all been a part of the Spider Society for like a good almost a year or possibly longer, before Gwen came and recruited accidentally Miles.
Yeah, because Miles was a lot bigger. She even said, "Wow, you've grown a lot since I've seen you the last time." So yes, there is.
Plus, in that time, Peter B. Parker, got back with Mary Jane. They had a kid. The kid discovered her spider power. She was at least probably a year, I'd say.
Yeah, and Mayday Parker and Spider Punk's interactions were some of the best in the movie.
Yes. Okay. Again, I cannot say enough about the art style. I loved the art style they used for Spider Punk. That was so amazing. That looked like constantly shifting and changing newspaper clippings around him and everything. So cool.
Very Sex Pistols-esque.
Yes.
And I love the fact
that I love the fact that Miles even says when he takes his mask off and he goes, "Man, you're even cooler than me with your mask off."
No, he goes, "You're even cooler. You got cooler taking your mask off." He goes,
"Right.
I've always been this cool."
Right. Oh, it was great. It was so good. Yes, Hobie.
I like how he just did not care about anything.
No.
Pulling stuff off the wall, and he's like, "Yeah, fight him. Do this."
I love how everything was fighting the man and tearing down the capitalist pigs, and everyone's like, "No, that's not what we're doing." What, man? No.
Miles, use your palms. You're not helping, Hobie. I don't care.
I don't care. So yeah, I think I gave it an 8.5 the other night. I don't remember. That was a very long time ago.
I think you give it an 8.
Did I give it an 8?
I think
yes,
so.
I believe so.
Go back and watch the video that Keith posted into the
chat.
Well,
whatever, 8.5. I'd say, yeah, 8. That feels right. That does feel right.
8.25.
No, Carrie makes a good point. She said, "It was a great movie, but the first set such a high bar, it's hard to catch. I really feel the first movie is perfection." Agreed. This felt a little long and like it was trying more. Still great, but just not as good.
I agree. I agree that it just wasn't as good.
I
still go back to when we saw No Way Home.
I concur.
At that time, I felt, and I kind of go back and forth, but I felt that Into the Spider-Verse was better than No Way Home. To me, that was such a phenomenal Spider-Man movie, and it's still, I think it is actually still better than Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse was great. It was probably one of the better movies of the year, but it's not better than Into the Spider-Verse to me.
I don't think so either. I do think Into, No Way Home, and Across are probably going to be 1, 2, 3, currently in that order.
Yeah.
But could change.
For me, anyway, yeah, too.
Yeah. All 3 of those movies are great, phenomenal. I watch Into the Spider-Verse every time it comes on TV. I own it, so I watch it sometimes when it's not coming on TV, just like No Way Home. Like, I'll be like, oh, there's nothing on, and I'll be flipping through my purchases, like on Amazon Prime. I'm like, oh, No Way Home, I'm going to put it on. And even my wife, at one point, she came home, her and the daughter was shopping, and Sully was building Legos and doing crafting, and I'm watching No Way Home, helping him. She's like, are you going to watch this movie every day? Maybe.
If I have to.
Could be.
If I have
it doesn't.
To get my point across, I'm going to do it.
Now I'll definitely do it because you brought it up. I'm going to show you how stubborn I am.
Yeah, I would definitely say No Way Home, then Into. Um, I wouldn't put any of the other live actions in front of Across the Universe.
Nah, neither would I.
So
The only one that might be able to challenge it would be Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock. Alfred Molina was so good in that movie, and that movie was just. But I haven't seen it in a while, and I don't know how it stood the test of time.
Before we went to go see No Way Home, I did rewatch it. It was fine for what it was, just like all the Raimi Spider-Man men movie. It was fine for what it was, but I think people hype up Spider-Man 2 too much. Alfred Molina, he was good. He was a good Doc Ock, but it feels like he's carrying the whole movie on his 8, arms. And the thing that I think, the only parts that I really, really like about it were the true Sam Raimi scenes, like the horror scenes in the hospital in the beginning of it. Other than that, it was fine to me. Spider-Man 2 was no better than Spider-Man 1, and it was only slightly better than Spider-Man 3.
Oh my God, that's blasphemy. Spider-Man 3 was terrible.
Dookie.
I still hate that movie.
Oh, it was really bad. It was so bad, and unfortunately, Keith, I still have picture proof that I went to go see it, because the girl that I was dating at the time, we were doing like a long distance thing, and we both loved going to see these like comic book movies. So I had taken a picture with my digital camera, which I then took the SD card out, uploaded it to my computer, and then but I took a picture of me holding my my ticket that I had pre-purchased for the AMC 20 for Spider-Man 3, and I'm like, look, I'm getting ready to go see it. Oh boy, I'm so excited.
Did you see it opening day?
I did.
So did
Up to
I.
you.
A bunch of us. I was working at AMC Livonia, AMC 20.
Whoa, Doug, you guys were there together.
I still remember it because a bunch of us I was working at this company that helped people get on Social Security disability benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of us went. And I was so excited. I was like, this is going to be great. We're getting Venom. The first two were great. I can't wait to see it. And I remember leaving it like, that was the worst Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. And I am never going to forget that they punked me like that by making me see this movie. I blame Topher Grace. I blame the show Wings, because that guy who played Sandman was on that show. I was mad at everybody. So, I mean, it's hard. I mean, the first movie with William Dafoe as the Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think I'll always be able to watch that
Willem.
just to see his William Dafoe. That's like I said.
Willem.
And then with Alfred Molina in the second one, they both did such a great job as those villains. And it was funny. I don't know if Dave sent it to you, a reel on Instagram, but they were talking about the moment when he disappeared from Spider-Man 2 to go into No Way Home, because he's like choking Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden it's like an instant his face softens, like, oh, this is wrong. And so
Yeah,
I
think
don't.
I sent that on Slack. If you want to look for it, Doug.
No, I think it was. I'm pretty sure you sent it in Instagram. It was a reel that you sent over. But it shows the look, like he's like, and he lets him go and he sinks and he saves the city. And I was like, if the No Way Home writers like watched it and said, okay, this is the scene we're going to pick to have him pulled into No Way Home and sent back at the end,
genius.
That's perfection. That is great.
Yeah. Exactly. That the moment where he returns, you can see it on a film that was filmed 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing. Maybe that is what spawned the whole idea for how they were going to treat Doc Ock in that movie.
Yeah. And it's, Carrie says, I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but No Way Home is too sad to be rewatchable like that for me. That scene, even having seen that movie probably 50, 60 times already, when he's up on the building in his safe place, and they come and talk to him, and they're talking about Uncle Ben, and, I still I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
They did such a good job on that. It still hits me.
I'll give that to Tom Holland. He, in my opinion, he is way better at showing emotion than either of the other two, than Andrew Garfield or
No, I
other guy.
thought Andrew Garfield was pretty good when he caught MJ falling.
Gwen. Yes. That was actually pretty good. I'll give you that. He was pretty good there. But
Yeah, he
you know,
caught her and she asked if he's okay. That was a great.
oh,
one.
that's what you mean. Okay, I thought you
Yes.
meant in his movie in Spider-Man 2.
Oh no.
I would in Amazing Spider-Man 2. That was one of the few scenes where I was like, oh shit, like because he was like, no, Gwen. I was just like, oh shit, oh no, oh wow, okay. And, like he's finally actually showing real like genuine emotion. I'm like, okay, this kid's not too bad of an actor. The rest of the movie is terrible, but
I thought they just showed him the final cut of the movie and then filmed his reaction.
No. They
Yeah.
overdubbed his reaction.
That would be more accurate. But yeah, so like I kind of agree partially with Carrie when she says Homecoming. Homecoming is so good. And again, going back to Tom Holland's way that he's able to use emotion when he was trying to push all of the rubble off on top of him, and he was like using everything in him to like, oh my god, such an incredible scene, so good.
And him trying so hard to please, Tony Stark when he was trying to stop the arms dealer and stuff, and how upset he was when he failed to save that boat himself. He thought he had it all figured out, and they just perfect pick for the MCU
Yep.
Spider-Man. And Homecoming was great. No Way Home was great. I still enjoy Far From Home. I think they did a good job. It's the weakest of the three,
Yeah,
but it's
I
not
agree.
terrible. It's still a good movie.
Yeah, it's rewatchable.
It is. I have rewatched it. Obviously since we've seen it, but I'd say the strongest scene in that entire movie is when Mysterio is tricking him like constantly, and he has no idea like where he is, and he finally has to like rely on his spider sense to the point just to escape, just to run away, and then end up on that train in another country. Like just that was such a good scene, but and the rest of it is okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, I agree with you, Dave. It's probably the weakest out of the three.
And that
I
is
think-
the movie we found out where that Nick Fury's a Skrull.
True.
Yeah, I think I still would put Far From Home above any Toby or Andrew version.
I would too.
Mm-hmm.
I would put Far From Home above that. I would probably put Homecoming above the others as well.
I definitely like
Oh,
the
100%.
MCU Spider-Man over anything that was created before it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a good pick. I don't know if that was Sony's choice or Disney's choice. I'm not sure who was actually behind casting him, and because like I know that the MCU, I know Kevin Feige, I know that they have like a big hand in making those movies, and it just happens to be produced by Sony. But I don't know if their studio had any say in any of it at all.
They hired the actors.
They did.
They did all the
Okay.
casting. Yep.
Well, then kudos to them. They actually did a good job.
And they usually do.
Surprisingly. They do
No,
not
Marvel
usually do.
Marvel Studios. You don't think they did a good
Marvel
job casting?
Studios does. Sony doesn't usually.
Marvel Studios did all the casting.
Oh, they did. I thought you meant Sony did. Okay.
Basically, Sony paid them a flat fee to make the movie,
That was
and
it.
Marvel Studios had complete control over what was done.
Oh. See, I always wondered that, like, if Sony had any, like, meddling at all that they did.
I'm sure they, as part of the contract, they're like, because it's a Sony movie. I know part of the thing was they have to have like an MCU character in each movie, so that's why we got Iron Man in the first one. That's why we got Nick Fury and
Fury.
Colby Smulders
Wonder
in the
if-
second one.
What if it's in the
Doctor
contract that
Strange.
he has to use Sony
Yeah.
products?
Probably, but yeah,
Okay, now he's
Doctor
got to
Strange
have
in
a
the third
bio
one.
laptop here.
Sony MCU hires Tom Holland type of actors. Sony hires Jared Leto.
Oh, yep. Yes, they do.
And I know you guys are going to be sad, and I really don't want you guys to be sad. But unfortunately, the Bad Bunny El Muerto movie, it looks like it's not going to happen anymore. I know you guys were both pretty excited that that was going to happen. Some D-list character out of like 2 Spider-Man books from the 80s is no longer being made into a movie by Sony. I'm sorry to bring it up.
Darn.
I don't want to ruin your guys' weekends.
I am
I
so
know,
broken
right?
up over that.
These are jokes, right?
Yes, it was a joke. Sony is still making it.
Thank God they're not. But Madam Web is coming out.
Yay.
Who's in that again?
But
Who's
I
Madam
don't-
Web?
I don't
It's,
understand
Dakota Johnson.
that movie.
Dakota Johnson. That's right. Yes, yes.
So like, oh, okay, you guys are definitely a little bit more versed in the comic stuff than I am. What was Madam Web in the comics?
She was
I
pretty much
only
what
know
she
her
was
from
in
her
the
animated
animated series.
Okay, I was about to say that I literally only know her from the '90s animated series, and she was an old lady who was voiced by Stanley's wife.
Now, later on in the comics, Julia Carpenter, who was a Spider-Woman, not Jessica Drew
Mhm.
Spider-Woman, but a different one, she became
Uh-huh.
Madam Web. Like the old Madam Web
Oh,
moved on to another, and then she became it. Basically, she just has like, she's like a psychic in a sense. You can see
Yeah.
events coming and stuff, but was never really a favorite character of mine. So of course, Sony is making a whole picture around it. Should be great.
Yeah.
well, in the '90s series, and I know that we are running short on time, so I won't like dwell on this until we do our theory palooza. But in the '90s series, she was like a mentor-ish character for Peter Parker, but more so like she was more like a cosmic mentor. She was just like trying to keep him on the right path. But she was apparently also friends with the Beyonder, and him and her basically were part of the bet to see who would win in the Secret War.
Now, I wonder if how much they're going to try to tie Madam Web into multiverse shenanigans, into,
well, they
into
totally
the Spider-Verse and MCU stuff. I can't wait till we see footage for it, because we're actually supposed to get nothing from that soon, but the rumor is that we're going to get some Craven the Hunter footage, which was shown at CinemaCon a few months ago. And the one thing that everybody said who saw it, no one really said like it blew me away or it was great or anything like that, but everyone said that was so much gorier than I ever imagined.
Oh, not the
Rated
takeaway
R.
I expected. Okay.
I know when people were saying that, and it was multiple people
Gorier.
who were at, I was like, that's interesting. Is this going to be an R-rated movie? And
Is it gorier than Multiverse of Madness?
Dang.
that's a good question.
Uh-huh.
When you grab Patrick Stewart's head and you turn it both ways at the same time, you know, is it going to get gorier than that?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, there was a lot of very, there
Turning
was,
Fantastic Four into spaghetti.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic. Jesus.
covering Black Bolt's mouth, so
Oh my
blows
God,
up.
yeah.
Even just how, that was a movie that I've not let Sully watch. I haven't taken him to see Guardians Volume 3 only because of like the animal cruelty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't let him see Multiverse of Madness because like he's not ready for it.
Was he upset with you?
No, not really. Only because I wasn't like, I'm not taking you to see it. Ha ha ha. I just didn't mention it.
Oh, good.
And-
Smart. Wow.
Yeah. And unless he sees a movie poster about it or something, he doesn't read the newspaper. He's not online checking out, comic book movie sites.
No,
So
they
I'm
still
kind
make
of,
What's the
newspapers.
reviews?
There's a local newsboy handing out papers on the corner still.
but it was funny because he did know, because when we went to do our at the theater review, he did ask me where I was going, and I'm like, oh, we're seeing the new Guardians film. He was like, oh, okay. But I don't know if when I said Guardians, if he was like, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy, if he was like, some weirdo movie for daddy again. Who knows what he's doing.
Mm.
But like I said, he
Well-
did give this a 10 out of 10.
Good. All right. Well, does he understand how the Doug scale works? Have you taught him? Have you sat him down and gave him the booklet with the graphs and the charts?
I've explained it to him, but he seemed extremely bored when I was talking.
And
Like,
out of the
This is
the
normal,
16
right?
training videos that I've developed on how to use and understand the Doug scale, how far into the videos is he?
he's almost done.
I knew it. Good. Excellent.
It's a 16-part series for 10 ratings.
Yeah.
Because 7 and 8 are so complicated, he has to do 2 videos on each.
A common misconception from young reviewers is not understanding the subtlety between a 7.1 and a 7.2. Let me go deeper into it. So,
This is an hour-long video. There will be knowledge check questions throughout.
you really enjoyed a movie's plot, but you thought some of the acting fell flat. You also enjoyed most of the soundtrack, but you were turned off by what they picked for one of the emotional scenes. How do you rate this film? No.
And if you felt at any point in time that you could get up and go to the bathroom during the movie, well, then that knocks it right off the 7 scale.
Like Terminator.
That is always a bad sign.
Yeah.
When you're like holding it, going, I just got to see the end of the movie. I just got to see what happened. When you're like,
Yeah, I can miss it.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm just going to go. That'll take it down to at least a 6.
I got to go back and see what I rated
You're irate?
Dark Fate, because I got up in the middle of that movie to go to the bathroom. I couldn't have rated it that high. That was bad.
Maybe a
Oh,
5.
we just got Tundra Walker just resubbed with Prime. Thank you so much, Tundra
nice.
Walker.
Oh, hey, there
We
was
appreciate it.
the thingy. Ah, yay.
Oh, would love to participate tonight, but my son is making me watch Into the Spider-Verse. Hey, can't go wrong
Making
rewatching
you
that
rewatch-
movie.
Making
Oh,
you.
yeah, making you?
You
Oh,
get
come
to
on.
rewatch. Thank you very much. We were
Well, I
just
hope
talking,
you-
Tundra Walker, how good of a movie Into the Spider-Verse is.
It really is just one of the all-time great animated films. And you know, Tundra Walker, after he watched our spoiler-free review at the theater, him and his family were talking about, because Doug had mentioned how some people said it's the best animated movie of all time, and started bringing up some of the others that could be in contention for that.
Okay.
You know, like
Mario
Toy
Brothers?
Story, maybe Despicable Me. I don't think Mario Brothers is up there. While I
Yeah.
enjoyed Mario Brothers, I mean, if I had to rate it on the Doug scale, I'd probably give it about a 6.8 or a 7. It was good, but I've had no desire to watch it again. Like, I watched it, I enjoyed it. Like, Jack Black's great in it. But
I would give
everything
Mario
else,
Brothers a 5.
yeah. Oh, Secret Life of Pets? Oh my gosh. I have seen that movie so many times because when Sully was a kid, the scene in that movie where the big dog starts like trashing the house, or I forget now. It's been a while since we watched it. But Sully used to crack up laughing when he saw it. Like the one dog, oh yeah, the small dog, like the big dog comes to stay with him. And he's like, well, the owner will know that I wouldn't destroy the house. She doesn't know you yet. He like starts knocking vases off and just utterly trashing the house. And Sully would just be in tears. He was laughing so hard.
So when
I
you
like,
say that Illumination dominates animated in your opinion, so I will say that yes, they do make pretty decent movies. But usually when I'm talking about like animated movies, the reason why I preface that with animated is because there was something that was unique or special about the animation that I feel that needs to be mentioned. I'm not saying that I'm separating it from movies in general. I say that it's the best animated movie because of the animation that I think pushes it above. While Life of Pets and some of those others, they're Secret Life of Pets, they're good movies in general. Like they've got great plots, good stories, but whether it was getting Tom Cruise to voice a live action dog that you stuck peanut butter in his mouth, or an animated cartoon. I mean, to me, that wouldn't have mattered because it would be the story that would drive it in that point, in that period, you know.
Just so you know, there was a rumor circulating today while we're talking about Illumination. Due to the success of the Mario Brothers movie, they will be making a Legend of Zelda movie.
I heard that too, yeah.
And did you hear who was rumored to be cast as Link?
No, who?
Henry Cavill. Coming back once again. Zack Snyder's the blueprint, gentlemen.
Henry Cavill, that's, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Link's never really had a voice, so... I take that back. Link has only ever had a voice twice, and that was in the 80s, 90s cartoon, and in the terrible CDI game. Which, if you never had a friend that owned one of those consoles, you're not missing anything. They were terrible.
I definitely don't think I ever played it.
A Philips CDI. It was they struck a deal with Nintendo, and Nintendo let them make a Mario game and a Zelda game, and they were bad. They were so bad.
You guys ever see Hoodwinked?
Oh yeah,
I don't think
that was a good movie.
Great animated movie, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the first one that came to my head when you guys said animated.
What's it about?
It is basically Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, but the Big Bad Wolf is an investigative reporter.
I think I have seen that, or at least I've seen parts of it on TV. I don't know if I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Singing goat, where this witch put a spell on him so he can't speak without singing.
Mm-hmm.
You would remember that if you saw it.
I don't remember that.
Oh, that's so funny.
Hoodwinked is definitely good. I've seen that a few times. It's definitely a good movie. But it is getting late. Oh, the one thing I wanted to add too, and I forgot to talk about it during the review when we should have talked about it. But like the fight scenes and the chase scenes in this movie was phenomenal. I loved how frantic they were.
Oh yeah.
They were just.
And again, I love, just like what I said about the first movie, I love the little comic book things that they put in there.
Yeah, I told Dave today, knowing they were coming, when he first comes into the lobby and all the pop-ups are coming for the different Spider-Men, even knowing they were coming today, they were like gone too fast to read them. So it's going to be, hey, I got my digital copy. Let's go frame by frame through there to see what it actually says. Because there's some probably cool stuff in there.
I wonder if other channels get like a digital downloaded version where they can like sit there and pause that stuff, and then with like new rock stars, there's no way that Eric Voss can sit there and write down all that stuff, as it happens.
I think he gets a copy.
I don't think he does, because Eric Voss and oh my god, the other guy, Brain Crush, Ryan Airy, the video clips that they were showing in their videos, they were blurring out certain parts of the screen, and this is only an assumption, but I would go out on a limb and assume that it's probably from a watermark because they most likely downloaded it from a torrent. So a lot of times and they weren't like super high quality, the clips that they were showing, so that would be my guess. I'm thinking somebody probably recorded it in a theater and then, uploaded it to a torrent site, and that's probably what they're using. I cannot imagine that there are a whole lot of companies out there that are willing to give an entire full digital copy to these YouTubers.
Yeah, because then it would leak. Yeah, you're probably
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not. It's simply an assumption. I'm not alleging wrongdoing,
Allegedly.
but I am assuming that it's probably what they did, based on. I watched a little bit of Ryan Airy's video, and he referenced Eric Voss. Sorry, the name slipped my head. He referenced Eric Voss, and then he showed a video clip, and I was like, okay, I think I know what you're doing there. But then I never did finish watching it. That was like earlier today. I got busy doing something else.
At least that's a quality network. I mean, rock stars and Ryan Airy. You're not getting the nothing but negative crowd. You know what I mean?
I think I prefer Ryan Airy and New Rock Stars over even NerdSync.
NerdSync?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I can't think of what. I think that's the name of the channel. I can't think of it now, but it's the British dude.
Oh, heavy spoilers.
Heavy spoilers, that's it. Yeah, I think I prefer Eric Voss and Screen Crush over heavy spoilers.
Yeah, I like Eric Voss. He's very high energy, and I like it. It seems like he loves what he's doing. He's not just doing it for the money. He's like, hey, oh my God, I love seeing this. It could just be an act. I don't know. You hate that part.
Yeah, I like him too. It's just sometimes he's too high energy for me. I can't watch it because he's so high energy.
I don't like his camera angle. It bugs me.
It's like above.
Yeah.
He's like, there you go.
But it's funny, like when New Rockstars does their like round table lunch breaks, I forget what they call them. I can't watch it. The people on there are the exact opposite of Eric Voss. They're very calm and kind of talking, and I can't really concentrate on what they're talking because they don't hold my attention. But Eric Voss, when he's on, it's like, oh, that's good. How did you catch that? Oh my God.
It's definitely his passion. He's definitely very into it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But okay, guys, we don't got a lot on today.
No.
One I see is Nobody Gaming is playing Marvel Spider-Man's Miles Morales.
That seems appropriate.
Yeah, that's because there's.
Keep those earpieces in there, Keith.
I'll do my best. Yeah. I don't really see anybody else. A lot of people playing Diablo 4 since that came out, which is actually TG was playing it, his first Diablo game.
Really?
I didn't get to watch his stream, but I was wondering if he was gonna like it.
My first Diablo game was Diablo 2.
Mine was 1.
And then I went back and I played 1 just because I was like, it was my cousin's husband. He was pointing out like, so you know who he is? Oh, you get this little Easter egg? I'm like, no, dude, I haven't played the first movie. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Oh, well, you know why he's in this village? Like, do you get like why he said what he said? No, man, I don't. And so I ended up going back and I played the first one just so I'd understand. I was like, okay, I still like number 2 better.
2 is much better. Like Tundra Walker, I think got me into the first one. And then I played 2. I never played 3.
I didn't either. I wanted to, but I never did. But also, I kind of felt the same way about, like, so the very first Heroes of Might and Magic game that I played was number 3. And I ended up buying the collector's set. So I ended up going back and I played 1 and 2. And they were fine, but 3 definitely was the best.
I did that with Fallout, because the first Fallout game I ever played was Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it so much, and I'm like, they had like on good old gaming, they had a sale on 1 and 2. So I was like, I'm gonna buy it. And they're okay, don't get me wrong, but they're kind of like a top down, more like a Baldur's Gate game
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, it's fine. And actually, Carrie's husband Danny is loving Diablo 4.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. I'm looking forward to playing it at some point. I need to free up some time and finish some other games. Man, I want to play it. That's the thing, man. You become an adult and you have these adult responsibilities.
Yeah, right.
I can't just spend, an entire weekend playing a game.
You can.
Which is good.
When Diablo 2 came out, I had adult responsibilities. I was supposed to have a part-time job and go to college, and a couple of times I would skip classes or not go to work so I could play Diablo 2. So
that was your college.
Huh?
I said that was your college.
Oh God, I made some bad decisions sometimes.
We all did. That's the ignorance of youth.
Yep.
But
I
all
can
right.
make up for it.
Let's
I
check
don't
out
learn anything in that class anyway.
let's raid. I don't know if it's NOE Body Gaming. So the raid is going to start. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. We'll be back Thursday night, maybe playing some games, maybe talking about what's next for the Spider-Verse. We'll see how it goes. Next Thursday will definitely be good night, Carrie. Always a pleasure. Next Thursday, Dave and Doug will be at the movies seeing The Flash. I will be in Frankenmuth with the kids.
Alternate Keith is going to be there.
Yes, alternate Keith. Keith from Earth 42 will be there. But I will definitely be seeing The Flash before that Sunday, when we definitely go in depth on The Flash, because,
Nice.
you know, it's funny. James Gunn, he said his favorite comic book movie is Into the Spider-Verse. And then, like, number 2 is The Flash.
Huh.
So I'm looking forward to it. So many people whose opinion I trust has said it's great. And I'm looking forward to, you know, I mean, they let an entire group at CinemaCon watch the entire movie. That's how confident they are in it, which I hope it's for good reason. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that. We're about to raid, so thanks everybody again. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like. If you're still watching our video at this time and you haven't done those things, please do so. We beg you.
Helps.
And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.